Hello everyone, welcome to Java Developer Community Seasons of Agent series. So today we have Sounak with us, who is a data engineer at Clickmark, um, and he will be talking about how you can build the future with Microsoft Azure and basically master AI agents. So over to you, Sounak.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Devans. I'm Sounak, and I currently working in Lexmark, and I have more than like 5.5 years of experience in this data engineering field. So let's start. Uh, I feel before we start, I really means we are all really interested about that our current technologies, right, and the way it's growing, it's truly tremendous. So today's our agenda will be after it's an 1 hour session, and after this session, if we can go back to our work, it may be work or it may be in our university, and if we can find out something that can be replaced by our AI agents, okay, or probably some of the one agent or more than one agents, right? So that is the main agenda. It's a very not a very formal session, it's a very informal session, just in discussions that whatever we have heard, we have see, and whatever we have experienced in our daily to day life, and how the technology is moving forward and how they are going to help us, right? And after in this agentic era, there are a lot of concerns amongst the pupils, right? Maybe job khalega or whatever, but it's not like that. So start our session. It's not a kind of a, again sensation, and anytime means the audience is now very wide, and if you want to connect with me, you can connect me in the LinkedIn or in the WhatsApp, whatever. Let's start. So before we go into the slides, let's just understand what is artificial intelligence, and let's take some of the recent video. Let's see some of the recent video on the intelligence, since it's Microsoft sessions, and again my career is also in Microsoft technologies, and let's see something from the very famous Microsoft people. I'm quickly share my screen.
We don't know what are the pros and cons for in layman's terms for someone like me. So I love the way it'll drive innovation forward, but I think it's a little bit unknown. Yeah. Will we be able to shape it? And so legitimately, people are like, wow, this is a bit scary. It's completely new territory.
I mean, will we still need humans?
Not for most things. We'll decide.
I mean, hosting a talk show, definitely. You're gonna need, really?
Well, we'll decide, like baseball. We won't want to watch computers play baseball.
That's correct. Yeah.
And, so there'll be some things that we reserve for ourselves. But in terms of making things and moving things and growing food, over time, those will be basically solved problems.
Yeah.
मेरा नाम है दीपांकर.
Okay, so I hope it's not that much scaring, right? So it's on Sunday evening and it's on weekend, right? And we all knows we have worked in that corporate or maybe in a college also, so we know the importance of the weekend. It's probably more than the AI, right? But still, there are something in the AI. That's why we are discussing it's in the weekend. Okay, let's start. So now I just want to show you like how this kind of things came into our daily life. Right now, it's in our daily life. Right, without ChatGPT, we can't think anything. We can't do anything as well. When we are typing some of the mails, we are writing some of the codes, and every time we just go to the ChatGPT. And how it's evolved, that let's see like how means, because it's just the fever, it's actually started from the late of 2021, and before that how it's work is there, it's there actually. There's not like it's not there. We called it that time there are in different terms, and that's why I just put this. If you can see the slides, I just put this in this way. So this is that outer layer, that is the AI, that is the entire layer, and under that it's ML. Then this is neural networks, then deep learning, and under that deep learning it's that new architecture, neural network architecture for the languages, and then it's large language models. There are other couple of different models are there, right? It's not like that only that large language models. There are other different types of models, but this large language models is very famous nowadays. And not nowadays, it's very famous in the history as well, but it's coming into the spotlight in 2022 or 2021 aggressively. The reason being, it's process your natural language. Means, suppose we have to communicate to a computer in some language, right? Maybe then you have to learn this language, maybe Python, maybe C++, right? That is a mediator between you and your computer, right? To give you some of the instructions. But when that barrier gone, and you just tell something in your own language, in your mother tongue, right? Just talk like, hey, do something, hey, how are you, what you are doing, like, those kind of things only do the this chit chat you can do with your computer. Then obviously it's a huge thing, right? And people are like, they're very interested, like, wow. And it's not that it's only that model, but it's apart from the model, there are other things that we are means tasting the data, we are training the data, right? And the data set is huge, that is lot, right? Means the so these kind of different models are basically how good you actually give them more training, more testing, then that will perform in a great way. So this is a interesting graph that I actually see into the internet. Like, this is our, so in whenever I start my career, I also see like the big data in my college. Also, the big data is the latest technology, and people are just they are just thinking about like how to learn that Hadoop and those all those different things, right? Clustering and all. And then we have to write so many things at that time, right? To perform a simple task, right? Now, then from that big data, this comes to email, then AI, then yeah, then when it's Gen AI came in 2025, or probably it's before that, then it's actually people are not interested to learn about that emails and all of those other. They don't want to backtrack, right? It's a nature of human. And then moving forward, it's going to this AGI. It's quite scary, and it's like general intelligence of artificial general intelligence. Since in human also, in general intelligence, it's not so famous, not so common, right? There are a lot of stupid people. But still AI also trying to gather those knowledges. So this is the most mainly that revolution comes to that different stages, right? So our main focus will be now in the large language models. Means how this particular model works, right? When you say something, when you ask something, right? How they decode your language, and it's go to the internet and search something for you and give answers to you, right? So this is the large language model. So it's not like large language models. There are other multimodal things like large image models, large video models. But since it starts from that large language models, let's discuss that. So this is the basic. Means let's understand like what is the background of this thing, right? Let's understand the architecture. So the main architecture is this one. This is the main flow of the architecture, right? Tokenizer, then embedding layer, then transformer block, and then stack layer, and then output head. So basically, if you say something, your model is prepared, right, you can also prepare your model in your home. But the thing is, like, you need that lot of data, right, to know your model, like what means to know that, to actually give the wide spectrum of, to the model, right, you have to feed a lot of data. So what are the main things, like if you say something, right, if I call like knowledge is power, then what happened, then it actually decoded in there, it is tokenized in this way, like knowledge, then is, then power, then after that it's embedded, and then it, there are some transformer blocks, so works in the background, and from that they will create another different, means there are other algorithms they are actually working. There's a huge thing, is not a very easy stuff. You, if you're interested, you can search and you can learn, or like you can, we can discuss later also. But this is the main part of the of our AI agents, or whatever, it's maybe language or image, whatever, but the model is works in this way. Okay, now from Gen AI, from LLM, it's Gen AI, right? Means Gen AI is an, means overall term. It's based on LLM, it's based on LIM, but whatever we are doing, that is on the Gen AI. Means what means that now that artificial intelligence is able to generate something in form of text or in form of image, whatever, right? So basically now it's a part of our life, and you can see, like, uh, we are means everywhere it's there, maybe in our, from our restaurant to our office work to our homework, whatever, it's there. It can generate. So that is then that evolution you can see, like then AI, ML, neural networks, then LLMs, then generative AI, Gen AI, right? And from this Gen AI, we'll move towards the AI agents or agentic AI, agentic errors, right? So till now, what we are doing, we are just writing something in the back end. There are some of the LLMs or LIMs working, and then they gives you something based on its testing and training, right? Based on its training, means trained data, whatever data they got in the training phase. It's like simple way. If you like just think about ourselves, we can also, I mean, we are also working as in this process, right? So whatever technology is developed, it's actually inspired from the nature, from us. So basically in our school, whatever we read, we actually, in up to the 10 we know all of those things, right? Means history, science, geography, biology. But after 10th, when you move to the 12th, then we have to take a specific subject, right? Maybe science, arts, commerce, whatever. And then from towards it, we are more specific on the subject, right? So same thing here also happening. So up to the Gen AI, just think about that. Your Gen AI is a class 10th student, right? So for a class 10th student, you can ask anything, any general questions, right? Maybe uh, what is capital of India, right? Or capital of USA, like this kind of things you can ask, right? But if you have to be specific about your work or about your different daily to daily task, you have to train him in a other way. You have to give him a training or whatever, right? So the way we, when we enter into the industry, we also take different kind of trainings, right? In our internship days, we have a lot of trainings. We have to adapt like what is happening the same way. So this is your Gen AI, this is your class 10 student. Now moving forward, it become a database engineer or like kind of a developer. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, so before enter into that agents and agentic era, there are two concepts that is very important for us. One is RAG and another one is vector DB. Now this is kind of a like strange one, right? So whatever we have, again, I'm just continuously backtracked whatever we are discussing, right? Maybe then again, so AI, then ML, then neural networks, then deep learning, then LLMs, then Gen AI, then after that, yeah, in Gen AI also RAGs and vector DBs are there, but those are the two separate concepts that we have to learn when we are moving into that agents, different agents, right? So what is RAG? So RAG basically is retrieval augmented generation. it's nothing but is just an add-on. It's an kind of a enhancement of your LLM. Okay, and it's actually pool the external knowledge, right, in real time. That means, suppose you trained your model today, right, or maybe you trained your model 1 month back, and at that time, whatever happens, whatever data you have huge money, and you have a huge set of computers, graphics, CPUs, and you train your models, right? So again, so how, what when I'm telling about the training and everything, it's like it's definitely associated with infrastructure, means big computers. Otherwise, how you, so it's very simple. Uh, if you think in this way, if you have model, you have a CSV data set, and you means just train your LLM models with that CSV data set, and whatever you ask your LLM, he means it can answer from that CSV data set, right? So now instead of CSV, now if we have that entire data, whatever present in our internet, if we feed that particular entire data to that LLM, right, then it's know everything whatever present in the internet, right? And also for that you have it that much of GPU and CPU. So after that, what? So it can't, like, if you train some of your model with your huge money 1 month back, so what it means, then if you launch it and then I used it and then I need some informations, I need some recent information, current information, then what you will do? So then that RAG comes into the picture, right? And it's not about that current information, it probably maybe your process. So suppose you want to put it in your regular day-to-day work, then how you can uh, give it means you can actually give a instruction like, hey, do this work in this way. Maybe he knows the your daily work, maybe he knows the Python, right? But where he need to apply, how he need to be applied, means how, what are the process, right, what are the architecture, and so where he go and write that code, right? Those kind of things you have to give them, right? That is kind of a your the RAG, right? So RAG is basically is enhance your LLMs by pulling the relevant external knowledge in the real time. Okay, that means whatever LLMs. So if you see these diagrams, right, whatever, and that again, whenever I am talking about RAG, then that vector database is integrated, right? I can't eliminate that vector database. Now this is the most important thing. So once you understand this, then it's very easy for you to go to any platform and create any agent for you. Those are the two most important thing that I feel to create an agent. Okay, now whenever you are actually means doing your enabling your LLM with that RAG, then you have to feed, or you have to give that vector database to your LLM. Now what is vector database? We know about that. Yeah, there are different types of database, right? Relational database, non-relational database, right? Now what is this vector database? Vector database is basically it's kind of a, what I can say. So suppose you actually stored a image in your relational database. How it's actually stored? It stored in a binary format, blob format, right? And there are a lot of, means it's stored in this way, like 0101 in this format. There are RGBs, right? And there are different pixel coordinates, and whatever data present in that particular pixel coordinate in terms of RGB, that will store into your uh, database, right? Relational database, right? And then from that you will see, like, you take if you query that data, you can see that entire image. That's all, right? But anything else you can get from this image? No. Now suppose my in my LLM I want to feed that information, so it's just give that image, nothing else, right? That's where actually vector database comes. The vector database actually segregate that uh, different dimensions of that image. Now what are the dimensions of that image? So what is the dimension in our general sense, right? So dimension is basically, it's like in mathematics is 1D, 2D, 3D, and in your life it might be you are a good boy, you are a great developer, or like this kind of different stuffs, right? That we can share, like uh, what is your age, those anything can be a dimensions, right? So that way, so if I see this particular image, so there are a lot of things into that image, right? Maybe a color scales, right? Elevations of the different lines. Okay, so those kind of all of those dimensions, and now how all of those dimensions came into your system. So it's not only stored now. I am just trying to simplify it into the relational terms. Suppose you upload that image, and that image in our relational database, how it's loaded, it's just load 0 1 0 1 0 in that way. But in vector database, it's create a different other data, I mean sets of arrays for different dimensions. Means, so might be there is in one array, that array is basically for its color scale. That is the default one. And next might be the grading of that different I mean elevations of the different lines. Maybe some lines are straight, some lines are curves, like that. So all of those different dimensions are stored into your database, and then so there are a lot of dimensions, right? So if I see you, it's a philosophy, right? If I show you an object, you can tell me something about this object, you can tell n number of things like that. So that way it's actually stored that different vectors, it's a mathematical things, that vectors, and then it's indexed. So if it's not like you just classify into it in different dimensions, you have to index it. Because if I can see, like we have in for a particular object, if it is 100 dimensions, right, then how you can identify like what are the dimensions, where it is, right? You have to definitely have to do the indexing. That's why index are there, right? So then you have to do the indexing, and then after that you load it into your algorithms, and then from that, so now if I ask you about that image, if I ask that LLM about the image, that LLM can able to answer anything about that image, because he has all of those data. So that's why it's in real time. So if you want to create an agent where you put your image, and from that image you want some data every time, right? That can be your agent, right? So there, that vector database, you stored your I mean image into the vector database, and from that you extract that information through that LLMs, right? So this is the process, like, so this way, if you can see this I mean diagrams, these are the different dimensions. So it's in 3D, but it's not 3D ideally, it's in the like, in number of dimensions, I can say, right? And then this is the vector representations, and those values are different, if you can see. So suppose if I go with a dimension 1, the values is different, and go with the dimensions 2, then the values are different, right? So that way it's stored over here, and gradually it obviously it's not like that, it's not like in very simple way, right? It's embedded in different stuff, and then it actually give you the answers. Okay, enough. Let's moving forward. We are gradually moving into that agentic phase. Yeah. So now your so that problem is solved, right? So if we have a model that is actually trained in back 1 month back, and the how I can use with the latest informations, that problem is solved, right? We feed one vector database, and from that vector database, what are the existing knowledge it has, and then after that, that information that is coming from vector database, and together we create a one AI agent. Now AI agents, the basic simple structure is that user, then AI agent, and then memories and tools, right? That now AI agent, this AI agent, this part is basically LLMs and your vector database. And now there are two more things that is added over here, that is one memory and your tool. Now let's identify one process in your daily to daily life, right? Suppose you are a tester in an organization, right? And then what is your job? Your job is like you have to get some of the tickets in form of in form of Jira tickets, or like safe stories, and then you have to test that particular code. And you have some automated script. You just run on that. You just means write something. Just change the parameters of that script, maybe the table names or maybe the, I mean, whatever, right? Schema names or column names, and then you will just. I'm a database guy, so I can give you the examples on the data side. So then you can run that script, and then you get that answer, right? If the scripts are the scripts are giving you the correct results or not, and then based on that you give you some of the documentations, and you send it to your, close the ticket or send a mail to your manager or like in people, right? In the higher designations people, right? Yeah, it's done. You can go for that next environment. So whatever you are, what are the things you are doing? You have some predefined work, right? Maybe predefined templates you have. You're just changing those parameters, and then you're running those parameters, running that script, and then you checking the result is correct or not. That same thing you can do through the agent. So for that, your agent need to know your predefined script first. Secondly, your agent definitely means must know that have that access to the database, right, to run that query. And third, it definitely have that access to write into your Word documents or Confluence or whatever, means wherever you are maintaining your uh, means work, maybe Excel, whatever. So that particular connection part is controlled over here. Tools. So you can connect your database, you can connect your Excel, you can connect anything to your agent through the API. Okay, and then memory. And that is also an interesting thing, right? Memory means, so whatever you are doing, right, in your daily to daily work, uh, the memory is important. Means, suppose you have worked in a table, in a particular table 1, and you already give that data to your agent, right? This table has 5 columns, 6 columns, 7 columns, right? And in next year, suppose you don't have to work much on that table, it's there. And in next year, and same requirement came into means just came to you, like, please do some change into that table. Maybe we need to change the data type of a column, right? Now the how this particular memory works, you don't need to give that information now to your agent, because agent already have that information. It's actually stored into its memory, right? If you give the table name, it already say, okay, this is your table name, your table, this is your table A, and this particular table A have 5 columns, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, and it's have this is associated data types, right? And it have that information, right? And now once you tell them, so write your query in your LLMs, right, in your chatbot, right? Hey, please change the column data type varchar to integer. Just give an example. It automatically check that, yeah, it's have that memory, like which means this particular columns at these data type of varchar, and it automatically, you don't have to give the table names, and it means you definitely have to give the table names, have some reference, right, some context, and based on that, whatever related data are there, it automatically fetched from his memory. So that is the main revolution, I can say. Means you don't means you just have to check like your agent is working fine or not, right? But everything can be done through the agent. Okay, you just need to check like, yeah, it's doing right way or not, because the instruction are over there, those memories are there over there, and the tools are connected through the API, and that is kind of a I'll talk that later. So that is the main fundamental pointers on the agents. And then the agents are different types for different industry. It works in different way, right? Some of the very simple reflex agent, some of the model based agent, goal based agent, utility based agent, learning agent, and robotics agent. So suppose you are a researcher, right, in a great university, and then you want to write a research paper, you want to create an agent, and every day for your particular topic there are numbers of research papers, books are published, and it's not possible for you to read all of those research papers and on those book in just 1 or 2 days, right? Because you are a human. So those particular things you can do through the agent. Agent can feed, if you feed that information, feed your book to your agent, it can analyze all of those data. Again, that vector database is working in the background, right? is actually see the data, see the different context, indexing all of those context, and then based on your query it gives you the answer. Same way can be your, means anything in any of your industry it can be applied, right? Okay, move forward. So those are the main thing. Okay, I'll come this later, I have a slide for that. Yeah. Now from this agent, now let's, people are moving to that agentic AI. Okay, now just take that example of the testing example. So how, you know, like you have to do some of the testing, because your developer has completed your his or her work, right? So that's why you get that answers, right? Yeah, now developer's job is done, and then I have to move to the testing. So that is the thing that agentic AI is actually means. Now previously it's just your work, it's just act as a tester, and now it's not the tester, it's everywhere. Means in a team, suppose you have a one developer, maybe two developer, one tester, and there is a one manager. I'm just giving an example, it's a very small team, right? And you have some requirement that is coming from your manager, and then your manager divide that work towards the developer, and once the developer has done their job, they'll actually give it to a tester, and there can be a DevOps guy who actually deploy the code in different environment. And there is a very simple and very simple day to day work for us in any technology, right? So instead of giving the informations to the developer and tester, so if we can create an agentic system where, again, that agentic system means it's a lot of it actually, it's not one agent, it's multiple agent, and all those multiple agents are means communicating with each other. Okay, and those are different protocols are currently they are, means they are coming the means they, because they are communicating uh, in between, right? In runtime, I can say it's a good word. So in runtime they are communicating. So how the process, suppose you write something, we need a requirement. So suppose, let's take an example, you have a database, you have to test something on that database if the columns are everything are fine or not, and then you have to move it to your end layer, right, into a Power BI layer maybe, or whatever, right? Maybe it's an hosted in the background of app. Okay, so and you need to do some changes in your database. Now what you will do, you will actually give that instruction to your LLM, and in those again, it's an LLM. There are not, yes, chatbots, and those chatbots are connected to another chatbots. Those are actually defined for different work. Now suppose your agent one, he is acting, means it's acting as an database developer. Agent two also act as a database developer, maybe not database developer, maybe a tester, and agent three maybe acting as a DevOps guy, right? So if you give an instructions to your chat, means your chat, like, yeah, hey, I need to update this column, test this particular scenario, and move it to our different environment. So there is a different instruction area where you can write your instruction, you can call, you can connect your connect your agents, right, through the MCPs. So if everything is fine, everything is connected properly, and you have an agentic system, then you just write that query over there. It's kind of an writing a story, right? You're writing a story or a Jira ticket, right? This is the job you have to do. You just write it instead of there, instead of that particular platform, you can write in the chat, and based on that different keywords. Again, here one of the most important thing is like your prompts. I haven't include all of those things because those are the basic part of the AI, and since we are mostly talking about this agentic part, I hope we all know. Even if you want to interest about this prompt engineering and everything, you can connect. So basically, this is this is a yeah. So what I'm telling, yeah. So if we have that particular requirement, now from the instructions, it knows, like it's kind of like an workflow, right? So if you design an agentic AI, you have to write a different types of workflows, right? First this one, then this one, this way, and it can be skipped, right, from one workflow to another workflow based on your requirement. So basically what you need to do, you have to write something on your LLMs, then based on that particular instruction, it's moved to you to the database, then testing, then DevOps. Okay, so once the database is completed, it's moved to the testing, and then once it moved to the means it's complete. So how they communicate basically means how one another agent is know like, hey, database work is complete. They continuously actually communicate with each other through the MCPs, right? If they means the tester is continuously checking like if that values it present over there or not. So there are a lot of other background stories are there, but I'm just trying to make it in general, means generalize in our normal way, right? So that is the main thing. So now it's a normal agent. So if you open now also you can see, if you open an Adobe PDF reader, you can, there is a called AI assistant. If you write something over there, it's give you the informations from your uh from your from that content, right? So same way, there is one agent, and then we are communicating with one agent to another agent through some protocols, and then it working as a team. So now previously it's replaced a person, now it's replacing a T. Don't worry about that, because there are a lot of things are there. We can't trust blindly. Yeah, that is the main, that is the hope, I can say. Okay, so again, it's the same autonomy, but in a different way, right? That agentic AI. So basically, that's I already discussed in that agent slide, but still, there are two, three things. One is that there are mostly four things the way that agentic AI solves the problem, right? So one is perceive, another one is reasoning, then act, and then learn. So when you give some of the informations, it actually perceive, it actually check like, yeah, what are the things is actually trying to tell it. Same way that human actually told you. Suppose you are in my team and I ask you to do some job. You need to understand, right, what are the things, what are the tables associated with, what are the way that we can do, and then that reasoning, right? Reasoning means how we have to do, what is the right process, right? And is there any other impact or not, right? Those kind of reasonings, that is coming from your LLMs, your trained, the large data you have trained in your LLM. And later it moved to the act means again your APIs. In this particular act, it's actually telling about that those APIs, right? And then learn, and learning is basically your memory or your vector DB. Those kind of things are learning, because whatever data, whatever things you have done, you actually put a vectorized index over there in your database, and next time if we have some kind of requirement, then it's go there and retrieve those informations. Okay, so this is the main thing: natural language inputs, then that interpretations and reasoning, then workflow generations that I already discussed. Different workflows we have to generate, right? So suppose I told you, like, give you an example. So in this particular process, that what we are means telling, suppose we have a requirement where we do some of the changes, then go to the testing, and then go to the DevOps. Let's take an example, very urgent requirement, and we are skipping the testing. It's an exception. Okay, the tester and developer work together. There is no another steps called testing. Whenever developer is working, testing also have to do, means they are doing the testing. It's not another ticket or another kind of things. Okay, so that way that workflow should be skipped, right? If there is a particular testing thing, that should be skipped, right? So that way it works. You have, if you have different workflows, and you have different conditions as well, right? So after this condition you have to move there, after this condition you have to move there, and then output and outcome. And this is the main DNA of that agentic AI. Perceive, already I discussed, right? Perceive, reason, act, and learn. Okay. Now move forward. Before we moving to that Microsoft agents, let's just check like what are the traditional AI and what is agentic AI. Same thing. Traditional AI is just context based. I mean, it's not context based. It's just an you don't have any idea about that. Whatever you are doing, just you give some data and give some output, right? It's a very rule based structure. Okay, and that there are different manual inputs are required. If you have to tune something, if you have to done some need some changes, you definitely have to give those. Means it can't generate anything, right? And this is a beautiful graph. You can see like coding on copilot, agentic coding engineer, and then agentic coding engineer in next 10 or 20 years, right? And 5 or 10 years, not 10, 20. So here, this is the more human supervision required and less supervision required. So this area falls into that less supervision required, right? So here people not required, means not required on that work. They might needs for something else, but not required for that particular daily to daily task which are defined. Those are our brains right now, right? How we are thinking. So it's just we had a prompt, then good prompt, then app, then good prompt and pipelines in the app. Then we don't do anything. Everything, even agent can think. Just say yeah, hi bro, and then he can understand like, oh, you are so sad, right? Yeah, yeah, I understand. Let's recommend that this movie. Please see this movie, like that. Okay. What are the real time use case for our AI agent? Is it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Even you can also determine in your daily to daily work where it can be used, right? It's just it's just that observations, right? Whatever you are doing, it can be you if you want, you can do that. Means you just think about it, not in very rocket science things, right? Like whatever you are doing daily day to day life, you have to think about that, and you just means if you have that means if you feel like yeah, I have that capability to enable those different small agent in my work, then it will be easy for you. And the most important part is this one, security and risk. That's why people are also little bit aware, because if it's a very serious environment, very, I mean, kind of a very vulnerable situations, right? Can we trust our agents? The answer is dicey. Yeah, maybe yes or no, right? Because yes, it's yes. If you have in closed environment, if you deploy your model in a Azure environment or like in your own environment, right? And then you are connecting different. Now that vector database and those RAG is kind of an, I mean, gray area, right? Where you have to work on, right? Whenever you are connecting through your APIs, maybe more supervisions, more auditing needed whenever we are using that agents, right? Because sometimes yes, unpredictable behaviors, misaligned goals. Sometimes yes, definitely, maybe some of the your it's purely based on how you are communicating, right? Maybe it's kind of a philosophy as well, right? It's an half glass water or half filled water, like that. How you are giving the prompt, that way agent work, right? If you have some means if the communication gap is there, then it's a means it maybe do the something else. Means suppose there is a workflow in the agent and you are doing telling something like that, hey, test the test table. The table name itself test, and you are telling like it test the test table, right? And that agent might be sometimes might be lost. Then you have to feed that those kind of information, the instruction of that agent, right? There are different scenarios. Those words are quite similar with our daily prompt. So those kind of things, it evolves over the time, right? Okay, now the second and the most important part is that ethics, because everyone is doing everything through the agent, right? And people are doing a lot of different bad things as well, right? So those fairness, transparency, whenever you are actually giving means train your data, train your LLM models through the data, you have to be very, I mean, ethical. You have to do it in an ethical way, right? You definitely have to be human centric. Sustainability is important. Environment is a very important thing over here, because now you feel like how AI is connected with the environment. Yes, it's connected, because whenever you are more means dependent on the agent, people will create more LLMs models. It means more resources, more CPU, GPU, uh, more means resource infrastructure they will use, right? So whenever I telling that they are using different infrastructure, it's a huge impact on the environment. Legal compliances, right? You can't give the decision making is that one of the important part in this particular take, right? So you can't give AI to be a decision maker, right? So decision making stuff, maybe it can write something, code, generate something, update something, but at the end of the day, is it right or wrong? Is it it should be moved to the production or not? Those kind of things, those kind of checks, review, you have to do by your own, means it should be done by the human. Now I think it's already 46 minutes, but still I have a lot of things to show. So AI agents in Azure. So first is the first yeah, means Azure have a lot of different tools and stuff. I discuss all of those things, but first let's discuss about this Copilot. So Copilot is, you can see if you go to the Microsoft copilot.microsoft.com, you can see like uh, it's an it's an very wild, means it's like your Chat GPT, Gemini, Copilot is there, right? You can it's a kind of a LLM. There are different models in the back end. Okay, and now you can create your own agent from this Copilot. So how Copilot works actually? So Copilot is basically connected with your Microsoft 365 different apps. Okay, and there are if you want to feed more other informations, they have like different OpenAI models, then Microsoft Graph, and then other different data. So if their LLM is there, you just need to give some informations that can be act as an vector DB, and then it's moved the data to the Microsoft Graph. That is again, it's a similar stuff of your vector DB, and then from that is retrieve your informations, and then you can make your daily life easy, right? So if you need, so this is mostly used in very wide way, right? If you need to do something, trigger a mail, write some documents, or create team meetings regularly, right? Or get different informations from your mail. So a lot of things that you can do it based on your use case, right? So that's why Microsoft have their so this is the process, means if you can see. So first is take that different questions in natural language, and then that language is means coming as a prompt. Then it's check like what are the different contextual data. So context is very important, right? If you means, suppose what is context, means what I'm trying to tell is, suppose you search something, right? Means if I say like hey, create this Word document, development 1.0, and then it when you create this development 1.0 document, that is actually stored in the graph, right? And next time when you write something, and if you give that context of development 1.0 document, it will be easy for the agent as well as you to generate the new stuff if it is related to that development 1.0. So that way it's connected. So that's why Microsoft Graph is there. It has stored all of those means information in different nodes. Again, so if you feel now why it's not vector DB, yeah, it act as vector DB. It's not kind of, means the technology is quite little bit different, but it's act as the same way. Now this studio, Microsoft Copilot Studio is there. Now if you can see like uh, if you can see like those are the different options. Since I don't have the subscription, that's why I'm not able to go to that portal and show you. But if you go to the Microsoft Copilot Studio, then you can see all of those stuff, and that's a very simple thing. If you click on this particular agent, and then that yeah, so if you click on this agent, it will show you like in this way. So suppose here we're creating a weather agent, and you can write the different instruction, right, and test your agent as well, right? So if you give, so there are a lot of things. See, overview, knowledge, topic, actions, activity, analytics. So whatever we have discussed for in particular for a regular agent, all of the stuff are over here, right? Then when you feel like it's fine, you can publish your agent, and you can publish it as an app. So Microsoft already have their all of different agent for different services like D365. If you see that D365, D365 is a very interesting topic, right? It's an kind of a system like Salesforce. And then if you want to search something on this huge D365 Dataverse data, then you just write on that agent, and information will retrieve automatically. That is an application of Copilot that Microsoft already launched. So that type of application also you can create from this Copilot Studio. Okay. Next, so that is that very fundamental of that Copilot. Copilot is very fundamental, not fundamental. I can say it's a kind of a low code solution for your agent, right? If you want to create an agent without a very minimal code, then Copilot is there. But if you are not satisfied with all of those things, if you want to create your own connections, if you want to write your code, write your chatbot, and select your own models, right, then Azure AI Foundry is for you. So Azure AI Foundry is an unified platform for developing, deploying, and managing each and everything that is related to your GenAI. Maybe it's an agent, maybe a single chatbot, maybe an agentic solution, whatever, right? And it's a lot of things, lot of different way that you can do. I'll give you one example, one demo. Okay, so this is that first you have to create an AI hub, and from that you have to you have to create a project, you have to create an endpoint for the models. And once you create that project in your AI hub, so yeah, your AI hub is actually means, so when you create an founder resource, means an AI hub, it's automatically create your resource group, your resources like data lake and everything. Now when you deploy your model, it's actually deployed in your storage account. Okay, so this is the overview of that means the foundry. So once you enter into that hub, you have to create a project. Okay, so hub is basically, there are a lot of different project under the hub, right? Your hub is, so it's, you can understand from the terminology, right? Hub, so hub have all of those different things, your connections, your different projects, data, all of those things are there. If you want to connect different services, that is also over there, right? So those are the things. Model catalog, in the model catalog you can see a lot of different types of models. I think I have that list. Yeah, so this is the model catalog. See, GPT, PFI, DALI, I mean, whatever, means whatever new model are coming, Microsoft will deploy that in his model catalog, and you can choose based on your requirement. So now after that, it's that playground is kind of an you can get a little bit of similarity of that Copilot Studio, because you can do, like, you can define your agent, define your chat. So chat has its own playground. I mean, agent has its own playground. So whatever you need to tune something, to write something, you need to create something, you have to go. It's just not you have to create that agent and then it's automatically work. No, you have to give the instruction, you have to write some of the things, right? Maybe you want to give a knowledge base, you want to give some of the accents to the APIs, right? And knowledge base also you can create through Azure AI services or whatever, right? Those kind of all stuff you can do in the playground. And then fine tuning, if you want to fine tune your model, that is also available here. Prompt flow, if you can see, like, yeah, it's how efficient is it, you can test your things from the prompt flow and all of those things. And then this management center is a very important part, right? So those are the different tools that you can use. And then management center, that's what I'm telling. So this is an hub, and this in management center you can see. So see, this is Azure AI hub. In this particular AI hub, there are different projects. Okay, now this project, how these projects are there, it's like user, model endpoint, connected resource, compute. How much means cost is very important, right? Because you can't just create a random anything, right? Cost is associated with it, right? Then users, those are all of those things are there that you can manage. That's why it means you can manage based on your requirement and based on your cost and everything. Yeah, model I have already discussed. Now moving forward to the demo, I think it's already 55. I will just quickly show you something how you can create it. First you have to deploy the model in your Azure foundry, a foundry, and then wait, then you have to write some of the codes and some of the things. Let me go there, share the entire screen. Yeah, it's sharing. Okay, let's jump into the Visual Studio. Means Visual Code, not Visual Studio. So here also there is also I'll also discuss this. So GitHub Copilot is kind of can be act as your agent, right? So see, this is the code. Means so suppose let's take an example. Suppose we have one. Suppose we have defined one model into that Azure co-founder. We deployed one model, and then we need to create one agent from that, right? One agent, then a multiple agentic AI, right? So one agent, then we create these different, different other stuff, protocols and all. Then we connect one agent to another agent based on different tasks, right? Different workflows or different logic. So this is the main thing. So here if you can see, so I deployed it in somewhere else, so that's why it's showing in this way, because I don't have the subscription in the Microsoft. So suppose I can you can see, like, this is a main code that it's written over here. There are different libraries they have created already. You can import that. So I am comfortable with Python, so you can write it in any other language, Microsoft favorable language, like C# and all. But yeah, Python, they have given all of those libraries over there, and then from that you call those libraries, and then uh, you defined your vector database. Like here I use a vector database. Here I use a different service called Pinecone, right? This is a use for vector DB, but yeah, you can use Azure AI services, right? Your means cognitive service, or a video service, image service. But there are a lot of things, right? You can use that particular package and API, and then you can define your class and everything, and based on that you can define different functions, and you just instruct, right? If there will be actions. So I give you an example over here. So you can see I defined a database connections, right? Also I give you I give some of the context, right? So this, you can see that name of that different functions, right? So context is coming from the AI, from the model and DB, vector DB. And then, so let's go through the code one by one. So first we need to, since I mean yeah, so those are the different libraries that first we need to call. Then we are defining some of the stuffs, that those kind of means what are the model ID endpoint that is automatically you can get whenever you deploy one model. So one dedicated endpoint is created for your particular model. Then you can take that dedicated endpoint, and then you can use in your any applications, right? So there are send request, then some context info, then connect to the SQL server. It's a function, but later you can see it's using in other way. It's using, I mean, in action part, right? Yeah. So since, see, there is, if I go to that actions, then it's actually running that query, right? That I need to run. So there are a lot of stuff that means you're actually running over time. That I'll do it little fast, go little fast. If you want to discuss this more, you can connect me any day. That's not a problem. And just give you a little bit more example over here. So this is your ready-made means agent that is over here. So if you can see, there are a lot of things, right? If I go over here and go to the agentic mode, and if I want to add context, right, you can see all of those different options. So now, how you can create your copilot to an agentic AI? It's very simple. It's just if you give it a any of these, right? It's not like you have to go in a particular way, but if you whatever your need, if you give that particular thing, maybe a screenshot, maybe a prompt problem, okay, whatever, you can give that as a context, and then it can communicate with that particular thing, and based on that based on his analysis and all, it's give you the result. Okay, yes, so see, this is the interesting part. So if I want to create an agentic AI and want to create a connect with another agent server, this is the way. So if I click over there, it can means it just give means it just take the different informations, that what are the different protocols, means or different agents protocol, that if I give that, then your GitHub Copilot also can connect to your agent. So suppose you have created one agent and you have created your model context protocol, right? So model context protocol is that protocol that is basically means is used to communicate to one agent to another agent, right? If I define that particular protocol and if I assign that protocol to your GitHub one, then your agent also can talk your GitHub. Now you can just understand. Suppose you means your agent can use another agent, right? So it's like you're stuck somewhere, right? You go to your I mean chat GPT and search that word, means hey, I am stuck over here, I need some help. So that way, if your agent also needs some help, it can go to your Copilot and like that. But here that security and all of those risks are there, right? Okay, that is all. Okay, so this is a huge thing, means there are a lot of other stuff that, and at my means that end thing is we have a chatbot, and in that chatbot we have write some of the prompt, and based on the different things we'll get the answer. Okay, I think we are on time. So those are the all of those other different services that AI has. Means Azure have, means bot service, cognitive service. This can be used as your vector DB, vector in video indexer. This can be also act your vector DB. So these are the different. Uh, what are those things? Those different things basically. If you have different types of data, you can feed all of those data over here. They will vectorize your data and give you the answers. That's all. As simple as that. Okay, suppose you have some document, you want to give some answer from a 1,000 pager book. You just upload the document and just ask the questions, it will give the answer. So that way it works basically. GitHub Copilot recently it's actually coordinating with Hugging Face as well, and Azure Cosmos DB also use a lot for vector database because it's an NoSQL means non-relational database. So lot of different other stuff that can be done over there. Okay, now what is the future? So this is also an video, but since we are running out of time, I can skip that. And in the end, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure for me to discuss all of those stuff with you, with, with all of the audience that enter the big audience, right? So any day I'm frankly we are all learning, right? I'm also learning. I'm means I'm trying to move into this particular domain, right? I'm learning. I'm trying to check different other things. So feel free to connect. So I want to give a lot of thanks to this Azure developer community to organize these kind of things. It's helped in two way. It helps me. It helps probably might be, I don't know. It might help others, right? So it's a win-win situation for us, and uh, thank you so much, and hopefully we can yeah, they'll conduct like more sessions and I can participate there. Thank you so much.